Just got in the new Bagara B14 Hunter. It's in 7mm caliber and got a new VX5 scope from Leupold. It's 3x15 power scope. I'm going to be getting this stuff all put together and show you how to mount a scope properly to a rifle and get ready to get it bore sighted and sighted in. With having a 30mm tube over a 1-inch tube, you get a lot better light gathering. So this should act phenomenal in low light conditions, which happens a lot during dawn and dusk as you're out there hunting. So I'm going to show you now how to get your scope and get your mount set up on here. Make sure you get a good eye relief on your gun, and we'll show you how to get that all put together to make it comfortable for you and get you all set up for hunting season. There's all kinds of different mounting brackets. I like Leupold. They've always worked real good for me. Just make sure you get the proper mounting brackets for your gun to make sure everything sits properly, and make sure you torque these screws to the proper poundage to ensure that you don't loosen your scope up when you're shooting your rifle. With new guns, the first step is removing the screws that they have set in there so you can get your spaces opened up to put your mounting brackets on. When I'm setting up a gun, there's all kinds of kits. You can use normal screwdrivers. Wheeler Engineering comes up with a phenomenal kit here. This kit's got leveling stuff. It's got a torque wrench in here and all the bits you possibly could need. It even comes with some Loctite in here to make sure that the threads are nice and tight. However, most of the screws you get actually come with some Loctite on there, so you might not need that. This comes with instructions for what you need to do if you haven't done it before, but it comes with all the stuff you need, including a laser for bore sighting. And so you'll end up putting that on later on down the road. We'll talk about that in a different video. But right now, we're going to go ahead and show you how to get the mount set up on here. Nice thing about this Tipton Ultra gun vise, it's got a little tray here to keep little screws and stuff as you're working on guns. It works phenomenal. There's other extensions for this that you can put AR platforms and all that kind of stuff on, but for this is all we needed. So I'll get these screws pulled out of here right now and we'll be ready to get started. Well, now that we got these pulled out, we're going to pull out our base plates and get our base plates set on here and get them torqued down to the proper poundage, which I believe is 28 pounds. It'll say right on here when I open her up. There's our base plates. And if you open up inside here, it says secure 22 pounds. So we can go ahead right away, and with the Wheeler fat wrench, you pull it back and you can twist it, adjusting to what you want. And right now we need it at 22 pounds. So right about there, make sure we're good and tight so our scope doesn't come loose. With the Wheeler kit, it comes with a whole bunch of different bits, and I believe we're gonna need the T15, I think it looks like. So I'll go ahead and pull out our proper bit, make sure it fits, and we're going to be good to go. We'll put that in our wrench and we'll get our base plates mounted. Just kind of tighten one down pretty snug. Grab the other one and then tighten them equally to make sure everything fits right as it should. And with these wrenches, you just twist it until it clicks, and then you know you got 22 pounds. There we go. There's one. And there's a second one. A lot of these mounting kits now come with a wrench, Allen wrench. It's a great wrench, it works good. However, I prefer to use a proper torque wrench so you know exactly the poundage when you're putting them in. Once again, 22 pounds. And there's one. And there's two. Our base plates are now on. And now we'll go ahead and we'll get our scope rings ready to go. Once again on the package, it tells you what to put them down at. This one now says 28 pounds. So once again, I'll go ahead back to the wrench and I'll just twist it back. I'll twist it up to 28. Let her go, it clicks in, we're ready to go at 28 pounds now. First part is these sit sideways and we'll twist them sideways. They're kind of hard. I like to use a screwdriver. And they'll click There we go, just about right. We got one scope ring put in the base part. We'll get the other one now. Once again, a little too hard for your fingers, so grab a screwdriver and twist it till it's in place. Making sure they're parallel. This one needs a little more. All right, I think we're good. Once again, you got to make sure you're buying the proper scope rings. This is a 30 mil tube. A lot of tubes are one inch tubes. So you got to make sure if you got a 30 mil scope, you're gonna have to get a 30 mil scope ring. I've done it before where I went in and bought scope rings, came back out and I bought the wrong scope ring. So double check when you're in the store or online ordering. And then we'll go ahead and set the scope in where we want it. Before we put our tops on, we're gonna wanna look through the scope, figure out what's comfortable, have it set in there good, and then we'll figure out the leveling on it. But right off the bat, I'll go ahead and I'll take that and we'll figure out our eye relief and make sure when you throw the gun up, it looks good to you. That one right there actually seems pretty good where it's at. Check one more time here, but that sure seems pretty nice. Some scopes are more forgiving than others, so just make sure you take your time and set it how you want it, because once you get that gun sighted in, you're not going to want to move it. Now in this Wheeler kit, it comes with a level, and you can set the level right on top there and make sure that your scope is going to be level. Right there looks about perfect. So now, go ahead and I'll put on the top parts of my scope rings. And as you put the tops of these scope rings in, make sure you tighten one screw at a time to make sure both sides are even. So you don't want to screw them down too much at once. And once again, these already come with Loctite on them. These will lock your scope rings in place and you won't have a problem with them loosening up. A lot of them come like this. If not, you can buy Loctite, or this is Thread Locker, and put that on there yourself. However, we're already set here, so we don't need to worry about that. And we've already switched this to 28 pounds, so we should be good. Like I said before, kind of screw one in a little ways, screw the other one in a little ways, and make sure they're both going in evenly. I'll get my back ones in here. Before you get them too tight, once again, make sure she's dead level again. Nothing moved on here, so we're in really good shape. There's 28 there. There's 28. 28 pounds on that one. And 28 pounds on that one. Once again, it's all set up. She's level, we're good to go there. So what I recommend doing here at this point is, once again, checking your gun, making sure everything looks good to you. Everything's really clear. No problem getting into the gun and making sure it's right where you want it. Just kind of throw it up a few times to make sure that it's going right to your eye and you're not having to move forward or back too much. And I think we're pretty good. At this point, we got our scope mounted on. Everything is to the proper specifications. And now all we need to worry about is getting it bore sighted, getting to the range, and making sure we can get this gun dialed.